Good morning, good people. I'm AT Malone, the first of my name, because the second is already here. These are my Saturday morning thoughts. If you were new to the channel, please like, subscribe, share. We're peaking to reach 10,000 views in a little over a month. So we making moves over here, okay? And we're just getting started. I have so much content that I still need to post, but in due time, it will get posted. Especially a lot of the word to the wise stuff that I have been accumulating over the last few months. With that being said, let's get to it. So I was talking to my lady and I had came to the realization, I don't believe there's a such thing as a toxic relationship. I don't think it's real. I think people make it bigger than it really is. And it's really a binary, simple thing that it boils down to. I don't believe in toxic relationships. I believe in incompatibility and forced compatibility. So let me break that down. Everybody knows what compatibility means, okay? Yin and the yang, opposites attract. You're aligning in your values and what your future looks like. Both of you people come into the situation whole and not broken. And you don't have to argue and yell at each other or get into physical altercations when you can just have a discussion on your differences, right? So I'm finally in a place in my life to where my relationship is intact, it's normal. And it's normally abnormal because me and my lady don't fight, we don't argue, we do have disagreements, but we respect each other enough and care about each other enough to where we can just have a discussion. And coming from every relationship that I've had has been toxic. Even my marriage was toxic. All of my previous relationships and after that, except for the one that I'm in now, were toxic. And a lot of it is because we just wasn't aligned. We were incompatible at every single metric. Our futures weren't the same. Our values weren't the same. Our personal integrity were not the same. So what ended up happening is it was becoming more of a physical thing where the only time that we actually aligned on anything was like in the bedroom. That was it. Other than that, we couldn't stand each other. And this is why compatibility is so important, because you gotta make sure that, number one, you know what direction you're going, and you have to know who you are and know where your core values stem from. Okay, if you want to get married or be in a long-term relationship, if you want to have kids, those are the things that are non-negotiables. So you got to figure out what your non-negotiables are, okay, and what you're not going to bend on, okay? So if you find yourself in a situation to where the person that you are dating don't align with your non-negotiables, that's the red flag right there. You got to keep it moving, okay? So what we find ourselves doing these days is trying to force things upon other people, force these ideals upon other people. And everybody is different. We're not a monolith, okay? People come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different religions, and that's okay because we have the freedom to choose the way that we want to live our life. We can't force certain things on other people, okay? And when you feel like you have to do that, then you're not compatible. That's what causes that toxicity. And life is short. We don't have time to sit here and bicker and argue about things that are important to us. So if things are important to you that's not important to that other person, then you really got to sit there and analyze, is this the right person for me? Okay. And this is the first relationship I've ever been in where nobody's arguing, nobody's fighting, nobody's bickering. All we're doing is planning the future, okay? And we are meshing naturally together. And it's normally abnormal, but this is how it's supposed to be. Okay. And if you can cut through the red tape at the beginning and have those real conversations from the start, then it alleviates all of that fighting and arguing and trying to figure out why I can't get this person. It shouldn't even be a why can't I get this person to do anything. You got to look at it like, okay, we're not aligning. We're not equally yoked. This isn't going to work at all. And it's going to save you so much time, so much heartache, so much resources, because you have to invest time and money in anything, right, that you do. And it allows you to figure out what direction that relationship would end up going. You shouldn't be fighting and arguing with your significant other all the time. That's a problem, okay? That's stress. So don't do it. So that's that. Second thing I want to talk about, privilege. I don't know at what point society has looked at being privileged as a bad thing. Because from my understanding, I thought that that was something that we would strive to put ourselves in the position of. So if you come from a harsh environment, right? Like, you know, we like to have those, oh, I came from the hood and I made it out. That's a great thing. Okay. But once you start having offspring, do you want your children to grow up in that same type of environment and face those hardships? Because that means that you didn't really break the cycle if they have to go through the things that you went through. So privilege is a fantastic thing. My son is a privileged child. He will never have to go through the same things that I went through. I got two brothers, okay? And they come from a privileged background because when they were born, their parents were established. My father and stepmom were already in a position of wealth and prosperity. Same thing with my mother and my stepdad. They didn't have to see the grind like me and my sister had to see with my mother and my stepdad, coming from nothing, living in North Dallas, Skillman and Aldelia, Whitehurst. They didn't get to, see that. And I'm glad that they didn't, because those are environments that you don't even want your kids to grow up in. So now, fast forward, we looking at privilege like, oh, you didn't come from the hood. That's a great thing. You shouldn't have to come from the hood if your parents already came from that environment. My son will never have to want for anything, okay? Ever. And we got to get in the habit of you looking at privilege as a good thing. It means that somebody paid the ultimate sacrifices and made the right decisions to make sure that their offspring don't have to go through that ever again. I made sure that whenever I had my son, I was in a position to where he would not have to struggle. He would not have to want for anything. And I will be damned if he has to go through the same shit that I had to go through growing up. He will always be able to have the things that he wants as long as he earns it. And that's the thing that you got to teach your kids that come from a position of privilege is this. Everything is earned. I don't give my son a damn thing that he does not earn, because there has to be a balance. He must earn because he's going to be a man one day. He's going to have to take care of himself one day. And it's my duty and my job to make sure that he understands the value of a dollar, responsibilities, having to use his hands, use tools, use his brain, think before he acts. All of these things encompass the responsibility of already being here and not having to come from here. So parents have to do their due diligence in their jobs and their duties to also teach them the values and the things and the sacrifices that they had to go through to put their children in a higher position of lifestyle that they didn't come from. And that's the thing. Privilege is an amazing thing. I love the fact that I'm able to have the availability to make sure that my son is a privileged child, because I'm telling you, man, and I know a lot of people can relate. When you come from nothing, when you come from the bottom, you don't want your children to sit there and experience things that they had no business seeing, living, and, just experiencing, man. But I got to get back to it. That was my Saturday thoughts. Like, subscribe, share the video. I'm going to clip this bad boy up so we can continue to scale. Like I said, man, we almost had 10K views in a little over a month. And this is just pure content. I shoot from the hip, man. This is authentic. I don't even know what I'm going to say half of the time whenever I hit the record button. So you guys know everything is coming from the heart, the soul, the spirit, whatever you call it, man. Because I know most people are looking for authenticity. And that's what I am. Catch y'all next time.